So earlier this year I played Resident Evil 7 for the first time and well, I loved it. And that got me thinking as to why I like this iteration of survival horror compared to the last few entries. Then I remember what came out in August 2014, PT. PT was and is the scariest game I've ever played simply due to it being clever but so simple. Essentially the game loops with a few minor changes which make the hairs on the back of your neck simply raise. A door may open that wasn't initially, or a figure may be down the hall that wasn't there before. PT was great because of the unpredictability. This created great tension and suspense with the atmosphere. Back to Resident Evil 7 though, which pretty much copied the PT formula but with a Resident Evil twist of course. You can fight back a little, the typical zombies became more of a weird mutant creatures type of thing, and then the main antagonists were pretty much superhumans. But with all these changes to the PT formula, the atmosphere remained the same. Since the Baker family tended to be anywhere in the house at any time, there was great fear of being caught by them randomly. If caught, the music would intensify and a panic entered me. The goal went from completing an objective to running away. Hell, I remember being chased by Jack and then having a calm period, and then boom! The kitchen wall was broken by him. Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 were more action-packed than the other Resident Evil entries. Obviously, this was done to adapt to the times with things like Call of Duty and other shooters being popular, so this kind of gave Resident Evil franchise new legs. But what Resident Evil developers, Capcom, forgot was that Resident Evil wasn't Resident Evil anymore. The weapons and shootings were always there, but they were there in scarcity. It was hard to come across bullets and implants which were used for health. Sometimes there wouldn't even be enough space to maintain what was needed for survival. You'd have to swap out materials and sometimes give up something useful in order to get an item that was more beneficial. Shooting an assault rifle in a crowd of zombies isn't as scary as using a pistol with a slow horde of zombies coming after you. Resident Evil 7 got back to the foundation of the Resident Evil games. They even added a first-person camera, which is similar to PT, and this made the game more intimate compared to the past games. The third-person camera over the shoulder was first done in Resident Evil 4, with the gameplay still being similar to the originals. However, the camera became a way to detach from the game's circumstances when spectacle became the driving force of the series. With Resident Evil 7 using first person, the gameplay is more intimate as you are the player. You are allowed to see things firsthand. There's no vessel for you to play through. This adds to the tension and suspense presented in the game. When a character randomly appears, you the player are the one feeling your heart becoming excited. With all this being said, I started playing a new survival horror game, Alien Isolation. It follows the PT formula but with an alien skin on it, obviously. I haven't actually ran into the alien yet, but the suspense is heightened. This is largely due to the save points being scattered very sparsely throughout the game, causing each minute to feel important because if I die, I have to do everything all over. It seems like survival horror games are back at the rightful place that they deserve in the gaming world, with each one trying to create their own amazing atmosphere. I guess for players, the question becomes, for how long will this trend last? So guys, did you guys play PT? What were your thoughts on it? I remember the first time playing it and not really knowing what to expect, and I think after a few days there was like this online community where you can kind of understand what the hell to do because nobody knew what it was essentially, and that's how we found out about the whole Death Stranding game. But with PT becoming big, obviously that kind of affected every other horror game in the genre, including Resident Evils and also the Alien games. So what's your thoughts on Resident Evil 7? Did you like it? Did you like how it kind of went back to the original formula, or did you kind of get used to the action-packed gameplay and wanted to stay to that? What did you guys think of Alien Isolation? If you're new, you want to hit the like button for my video, you want to hit the subscribe button for my channel, and you want to join the quest.